So your life between losing your father, being diagnosed with breast cancer, then losing your husband, I mean, that's probably as difficult as it's ever going to get for anybody.
It was difficult physically, difficult emotionally, difficult on myself and my family. I haven't told that story, but I know that some people won't believe me in that way.
You're kidding.
I knew someone is going to break a bad news and I don't want the kids to hear it.
There's a whole concept of food and how many people have an opinion on it. How much does it annoy you?
You have no idea.
What is inflammation? What causes it? What do we need to know about it?
The problem with us is chronic inflammation. And one of the reasons why people's immunity is being compromised is the over-sanitizing and over-cleaning.
Do you think the food companies, they have our best interests at heart?
Of course not. Why would they?
Why are women not taking care of themselves enough? It's going to sound like a crazy question, but was it a blessing having cancer?
It was...
Today's guest is Tina Chagoury. Tina's professional background has been as a clinical dietitian. Her expertise has since evolved to focus on functional nutrition, that dynamic relationship between nutrition and hormones and how it affects us all. This took on really important significance to Tina as back in 2019, she was diagnosed with breast cancer at the age of 39. And tragically, a few years later, suffered even more bad news within her family. Tina's strength of character and incredible resilience really knows no limits. Today, she is an entrepreneur. She's launched a business called Savoir meal plans designed to get people back on track and ultimately get healthier. Today, she's going to help me explore insights across the food and pharma industries and understand if we really are what we eat.
أنا تينا شغوري أخصائية تغذية وتثقيف صحي إنما كتير بشتغل مع سيدات وصبايا بما يتعلق بالهرمونات. Before my diagnosis, I was already a clinical dietitian. I was practicing. I had a very successful career. When it comes to positivity or positive relationship with food, it's the conversation, you know? It's the conversation around the table, especially with teenagers.
We experienced a technical error during recording and unfortunately lost Luca's original footage. To ensure this important conversation wasn't lost, AI technology was used to recreate his visuals.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. It turns out you're my neighbor.
Exactly, like literally 3 steps away.
Like, are we talking like 100 meters away?
Like, I'd say 200 meters.
God, that's crazy. You know, last season I had Osman Sultan as a guest, and he lives just right around the corner as well. So let's just form a little, Manara group or something.
Important cluster here.
Yeah, I think you get a bit of business, we get a bit of podcasting, a bit of nutrition. Like, I'm really, really happy to have you. And to get to know you as a neighbor and one day, inshallah, as a friend. So I'm going to start with who you are.
There is much people don't know about me, to be honest, because I'm quite open on social media.
Yeah.
So, but I've been in nutrition since 2002. I graduated from AUB. So that's 23 years?
Yeah.
Because I started working immediately when I graduated. So I'm full on. I actually experienced the development, not the development, what you call the evolution of nutrition.
Yeah. And you've now sort of moved into something completely different,
yes.
which we're going to get into. But I do want to ask you about your lovely mosaic greenish looking mug. What's going on here?
This is actually, I think 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I bought this. It was a set, a Christmas mugs. Okay. So there's red, there is checkered, so it's all like Christmassy. And when I was buying them, I was like, do I really need mugs for Christmas? Like, will I pack them when it's not Christmas?
Yeah.
And then I started drinking my coffee in them, and the size and the volume of coffee it takes, that's it. Now I'm hooked. I only drink in those 3 mugs.
And when it comes to coffee cups, size absolutely matters. So are you a Christmas person in general?
Yes.
Are you the kind of person who puts that Christmas tree up like 5 months in advance?
Second day after Halloween.
Second day after
that's November 1st? Or
yeah, something like that.
We do that.
So this mug was given to you by someone?
No, I bought it.
You bought it. Do you feel comfortable with me stealing it and putting it on my mantelpiece?
Yes, because I have 3.
So basically, you knew what you were doing.
No, I promise.
Tina, I'm onto you. You've watched the episodes before.
I promise this part I didn't know.
Okay.
Because I will give it to you because I have literally a red one similar and a checkered one.
Amazing. I'll be honored to have it. So when you look at it, does it tell you anything or just you just like the size?
Warmth. I like it's fuzzy, like it's Christmassy.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
And usually I also ask my guests about a safe word if there's a question they don't want to answer.
Yeah.
To help protect them. Do you have a safe word in mind?
Yeah, because I want to promote my brand. Savoir.
Savoir. So tell me about Savoir. What's Savoir all about?
No, so Savoir is actually my brand, which I created after a few years in the field. It has 3 components. The most known component of it is the anti-inflammatory meal plans, which we cater. We deliver the meal plans, the anti-inflammatory one. But also I have my Savoir podcast, which in the season one, I actually had guests with me. But moving forward, I think it'll be on my own. Yeah. I tried.
You had a mutual guest of mine as well. Joelle came on your show.
She was my first guest, Joelle. Yeah. I didn't find myself. I wasn't myself doing it.
It wasn't you?
No, it wasn't me. Because I love to talk. Yeah. And when I was asking the questions, I didn't have enough space
you can take over this one. Come anytime, talk as much as you like.
So I will be continuing with it, but on my own, doing mini episodes, scientific and nutrition stuff.
Very cool.
And then there's the Savoir community, which actually I haven't launched yet. I'm working on it. I will have an online community. Yep. Where I will be basically having online clinics, group clinics. I have courses already, but I will develop them more. So it's an online community for women who have similar interests and similar health aspirations.
Yeah, I get that. So do you enjoy now the fact that you're becoming an entrepreneur, moving away from that kind of the clinical dietitian mode that you've been in for so long?
Yeah, I'm still clinical dietitian, but most of my time is in the entrepreneur world, and I love it.
Yeah. The success metrics, Hala, they changed for you? What makes you successful? Was before you was all about just helping people.
Yeah, of course. Before it was helping people, it was being noticed in the clinical world, having good relationships with the good doctors in the city. Now it's business success, making more money, having a sustainable income. Yeah. Of course, it matters a lot to me that my clients are happy and whatever product I'm offering reflects my principles. But I'm slightly more wired towards business.
Look, you've been doing like with anybody. If they do the same thing all the time, at some point, you're going to get a little bit fed up, a little bit bored. They get a point where everyone was kind of asking the same questions day in, day out about their food intake, if they get, how to lose weight, all that kind of stuff. I mean, and also you go home, and you're dealing with your friends, your family members, they all ask you the same thing.
I know.
So does it just annoy you at some point?
It does. It does. And this is actually one of the main reasons why I quit my first and longest job. Because I felt like I have nothing else to say. Yeah. Although obviously when a new person comes, whatever he's or she's listening to is new. But for me, it felt like a tape on repeat. Yeah. And I lost my passion. And exactly for this, because I felt I was saying the same thing. I felt I was not doing a huge change in people's lives. I felt like I'm drained. I have so much more to give, and I'm limited to that space, the clinic. Yeah. This is why I quit my first job.
Why did you get into food in the first place, into nutrition?
I wanted to become a surgeon. Okay. So I applied for pre-medical school. Okay. I was accepted, and I went to my advisor. In the American system, you have an advisor. So he told me, are you sure you want to go into this path? Are you ready for it? Do you know how long it is? And I was passionate, but not that passionate. Plus, there was the financial bit of it. And medicine would have taken me years. And when I went to university, we were not really comfortable financially. So I told him, what do you suggest? He's like, listen, nutrition and dietetics is the future. And if you like it, and if you have all the, you have the prerequisites for it, I would highly recommend it. And so I took that first Nutrition 101 with him, and I loved it.
What was his name?
Tufaili, Dr. Tufaili.
So when are you
Matthew
still in touch with him?
No, on LinkedIn only.
So would you, if you met him now, would you thank him or would
Of course.
you would?
Of course.
So he had
I
a
would.
massive impact.
Massive.
You've also had a lot of other impact in your life, especially in the last few years, some tragic impact.
Yeah.
You were diagnosed with breast cancer in 2019. You were 39 years of age.
Yep.
What was that like?
It was difficult physically, difficult emotionally, difficult on myself and my family. Like any cancer diagnosis, there was a lot of uncertainty, there was a lot of pain, physical pain because of my treatment, changes in my body. It was a transformative experience for sure.
And it has a massive effect not only on yourself, but the people around you.
Of course.
So how did your family deal with it?
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I had just lost my dad. So it was 4 months after.
Wow.
Yeah, so my mom was mourning.
Allah
My mom, thank you. My mom, my sister, we were mourning. They were wearing black. I had refused to wear black. I don't know why. I told them it's like 40 days later, I told them I'm going to break the black, like wear dark shades. And I remember the few days before my diagnosis, we were having an argument and I was telling my sister, I understand that my mom wants to wear black for a whole year. This is a Lebanese thing or an Arab thing, I don't know. But I was telling her, you know, dad was old and he was very ill and it's not something he would want us to wear for a year. It's black is heavy. I have little kids. My kids were young. I don't want to stay in black.
Okay.
Like I feel heavy in black. So few days later, when I got few weeks later, when I got actually a few days after this conversation, I came to them. I was wearing, I remember very well, a brown shirt and jeans. And I was sitting with my sister and my mom. And my mom had planned family lunch the next day. And I told her, I don't think we'll be able to make it for lunch because I have to go to Beirut because I have biopsy. So they started asking questions, why and how and whatever. And I told them, chances are it's cancer. They saw something and most probably cancer, but nothing is confirmed. Anyway, we skipped that lunch. We came after lunch. My mom had removed the black. My sister had removed the black. And they were like, maybe you were right. Maybe this is too much dullness and we need to be positive and we need... And when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, this is when my mom's grief stopped. And she realized that, and this is what happened to me at a later stage also with my husband, when you realize what really matters in life. When you put things in perspective and you see them from a different angle and it changes you. And the way how important this is changes drastically when you are faced with something more important.
So you lost your husband a few years after. It was 2022. He passed away
3 years after.
3 years after with a heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
And that was obviously completely unexpected.
Completely.
So your life between losing your father, being diagnosed with breast cancer, and then losing your husband, I mean, that's probably as difficult as it's ever going to get for anybody on the planet.
Yeah.
In 3 years.
Yeah.
How the hell do you pass? How the hell do you get through that?
Listen, I mean, it's... I think things build up. So when I lost my dad, before I lost my dad had a stroke. And for a few years, I, with my family, were taking care of him. And this was the first shock in my life. The care for a father who was completely active, productive, who used to work and drive. Suddenly, he's doing nothing. He's not productive. He's going through depression. So this affected me a lot and gave me a lot of resilience in terms of stop worrying about him. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do for him. And then came my breast cancer. This was the biggest lesson. Again, I learned that you are faced with this. From the moment I was given the diagnosis, Luca, I made up my mind. This is my target and I'm going there. I'm going to be announced cancer-free after the treatment and I'm going to go on with my life and something is going to change in my life. And I did this and I got there. But in the process, I built so many new skills, things to, like how to handle things on my own, how to see the good in every situation, how to
regulate.
Thank you so much. How to self-regulate when I'm going through, during chemotherapy. I went through sleepless nights. I was in pain. I was scared. I was worried, but I learned how to, I read a lot of books when I was going through that. I had the time to do it. So when Ricardo passed away, it's as if God had prepared me to this moment. When I got, and this is something I hear a lot when I hear people's grief stories. When I got the news, I knew. I felt like I knew that this is going to happen today at that time in that way.
You're kidding.
No.
It's like a premonition almost.
It's not like I saw it. It's as if he communicated with me. And this is something.
The same day or the day before?
The same day.
My God.
The same day. I haven't told that story, and I don't mind sharing it, but I know that some people won't believe me or don't believe in this. And I don't mind it because it's something I experienced. What happened is that before I knew, someone was calling me, right? I was with the kids on the beach. I received a call. And during that call, I had a very weird feeling. I closed the phone, and then I went in the car with the kids. I was driving back home. And when I went in the car, I put my phone on night mode because I knew someone is going to call me and break a news. I didn't know exactly what news, okay? I knew someone is going to break a bad news, and I don't want the kids to hear it. And I drove, and in fact, I got so many messages during that trip, which I didn't get any of them. But during my this journey, which is a 30-minute drive, deep down I knew that I'm going to get home and they're going to tell me that Ricardo passed away of a heart attack. Don't ask me why. He never had any heart issues. It's not like we were going through something and that was expected, nothing. So when I got home and all my friends in Dubai and family were at the porch next to the house, it's as if I knew. So when I left the car and they were silent, obviously they didn't know what to say, I just wanted to hear it from one of them just to be done with it. And from that second onwards, I transformed. Don't ask me how. I've always been strong. I've always been resilient. I've always been confident. But something in me said, this is it. This is stage 2 of your life. And you're going to drive this bus or this train or whatever. And you're going to get to whatever with the kids, with yourself, with your career. And there is no going back. Is this something good? I don't know. Maybe I didn't live the grief the way I'm supposed to live it, but did this save me? Yes, it saved me. Because I did not, obviously I cried and I still cry and I go through grief and of course, but it's not like I collapsed, and people were around me and I went on medications and I needed to be alone. No. I continue. I was a highly, highly productive griever, if we can say that. So, what was your question?
I forgot. So enthralled with it.
Tell me about it. You said.
But yeah, what you've been through between your father, yourself, and how did you get through it? That was the original question.
Yeah. So the build-up of.
So you got the experience and the learning of going through that pain and suffering, kind of in a way prepared you. But the premonition bit is the scary bit. But the bit after that, it's the kind of it's like you switch to a different mode. Yeah, switch modes, switch gears, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
But like you said, you're recognizing it. Maybe you never actually grieved in the way that most people would. That was your form of grief.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I did. What is grief like?
I don't know. It's subjective to everybody.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you rushed anything?
When someone's going through grief, especially with a loved one, especially with a partner, because of course losing a parent is very difficult. I actually lost my mother 2 years ago as well. So losing a parent is extremely difficult. I don't want to even think of losing a child, but losing partner is also losing yourself with it, because there's a part of us that only our partners know.
Yeah, you let them in.
They're
the only person.
You only let them in.
Yeah.
And
it's exclusive.
And you can't be that person unless except with them. Yeah. And so when you lose them, you literally lose that person, that side of you, that part of you, and you grieve, you miss them, and you miss you with them. And this is extremely difficult. This is probably the most difficult bit of losing Ricardo.
Tina, I don't get into these kind of conversations often. I'm not the type of host that asks questions. I don't take cheap shots. But when I hear your story, like nothing I'm going to ask you matters. It's all irrelevant. Like I have a million questions about nutrition and food, but honestly, like in the grand scheme of things, who cares? This is the stuff that matters, because this is the stuff that we can relate to, that I can relate to. Like God forbid I lose, like my parents are both, at the time of recording, they're both still alive. Thank God my wife's still alive. But what you've been through, you're both your parents, your husband, I mean, that's some, and your own cancer, you know, that's unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah.
If nothing else, I could spend hours just trying to figure out how you do it, or at least how you can give hope and inspiration to other people. Do you feel that? Do you feel like now, in a way, that's it's overshadowing other parts of who you used to be, right? And that your expertise as a nutritionist, as a dietitian, whatever you want to call it, that's such a strong story that you have, that it's so potentially overpowering of everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is
Does
why,
that bother you?
no, not at all. I mean, this is me. I share on social media. I don't always share about my struggles. Or yesterday I posted, for instance, like I posted something about Ricardo, and it got so many, engagements, and people are asking, people didn't know. But the reason why I post these things is definitely not to attract empathy. It's not for me that I post them, to be very honest with you, because I know that somewhere, someone is going to find comfort in this. And in fact,
100%.
The amount of messages I get, you gave me strength, this happened to me, I needed to hear this today. That's it. It gives me, this is part of healing, by the way. This is part, I did therapy and I still do therapy. But this
Me too.
sharing your personal stories, and then getting this positive energy, and then inspiring someone, is a healing process on its own.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I have this platform to be able to reach this amount of people.
No, it's beautiful. Do you think there's a danger sometimes with people where they overshare? They show too much vulnerability, and it can somehow
Backfire.
Yeah, or people start to question the motives behind that they are looking to victimize themselves.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So how do you spot the BS from the real versus the non? Because people are getting better and better at faking it, acting it, playing it up.
Yeah. You can sense when something's coming from the heart and it's genuine. You as a viewer can sense it. You can sense it. If I put 3 videos for you, you can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. I mean, rarely would you feel someone who's really genuine is faking it, right? And it doesn't have to be the behavior itself or what she or he is saying.
Yeah.
It's just a feeling.
So
you can tell.
Talk to me about the Tina of today.
Yeah.
And as we are filming now versus 5 years ago, before everything happened. How have you changed as a person?
I matured a lot.
What does that mean? Like, what have you matured about?
Yeah. Decisions. I don't take BS. So I don't waste my time on things that don't matter to me.
More selective?
Very selective with everything, with work, with friends, with outings, with podcasts.
I was waiting for
No, I am very selective. But at the same time, and I don't like to say it, but it's the truth, I lost a lot of my what's the word?
Innocence?
You read my mind. Because I was thinking of it in French, candide innocence.
Because you've taken on a lot of responsibility. You don't have time now for that stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden...
But it's sad. Because I miss it sometimes. I miss being innocent.
Someone taking care of you and not having to, you have to worry about a lot of things right now.
Yeah.
Like, forget about the work side of things, which when you launch your own business, that's tough. No one's there with you as an entrepreneur. No one knows the pains what it's like leaving a sort of typical 9-to-5 kind of job and then doing something for yourself, putting your name against it. That's tough in itself.
Yeah.
But with everything else, again, without saying too much, you're an incredibly resilient person, strong. I don't know what the words are, but I would tell you this, is that I want to talk to you about these things. Yeah. But in comparison, I don't care anymore.
It's okay.
I could not ask you another question about food or nutrition. I couldn't care less. Because the human insight here, for me, is 10 times more powerful than the industry insight. My show is about getting insights from people. It could be about where they work, how they work, or who they are as a person. I mean, if I talk to you about food, what are you going to say differently to anyone else that's out there? It's going to be more difficult. But how many people can say what you've said?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's if you're drawing like a target, that's getting it's getting narrower and narrower and narrower. So that value that you can now bring to the table is tremendous. I'm not saying you don't bring value in everywhere else.
Of course, no, I understand.
But there are more people that can talk about that than they can talk about what you have.
Yeah.
So now I'm in a difficult situation.
Now you have to prepare again.
No, so look, what I would do is I will ask you about food and nutrition. Before I do that, I want to say thank you for sharing. I know it's not easy, and if you know anything about me, I don't look for these types of stuff.
I know.
It has to come across as organic. Yeah. But I'm very, very respectful that you managed to share this with me. So thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it.
Of course.
What are someone's biggest misconceptions about food?
So one of the biggest misconceptions, I always talk about it, and I'll always talk about it, is mainly related to women, but it applies to men. Okay. It's the idea that the less I eat, the more I lose weight, or calories. I have to count my calories and weigh my food. And this is a huge misconception, especially if you're not a child or a growing teenager or an athlete.
But why are people so obsessed with calories?
Because that was what the guidelines used to say 25 years ago.
And who came
when I graduated?
And who came up with the guidelines?
The Americans.
And what was the agenda behind the guidelines?
So today, funny enough, we're going back to our origins and the way our ancestors used to eat. Notice the paleo diet, the intermittent fasting, the cold plunges. All of this is to go back. Why the cold plunges? Because in the olden days, there was no AC and heating system. So the body used to go through these shifts in temperature, and this would keep inflammation low. And so it's the same with the heating, with the hot yoga. We all do it. I do sauna, I do hot yoga when we're triggering this sweating and this heat. So all of it, we're going back with a twist because our body is not the same.
Yeah.
So we have to handle the difference.
Like my wife likes the AC very cold, so she go upstairs. It's like going into an ice bath sometimes upstairs. This whole concept of food and how many people have an opinion on it. How much does it annoy you?
You have no idea.
Like on social media, they got like 1 million followers talking about complete nonsense. You're sitting there as a clinical dietitian. You're like what goes through your mind?
Can I tell you something? I don't only listen to them as a clinical dietitian, because as a clinical dietitian, if I go back to my clinical dietitian training, I didn't take much. I'm happy with the background I was giving in university and with the training I got at the hospital. Definitely, that's a very good base. But I don't look at them from this perspective only. Because if I'm going to look at them from that perspective only, oh my God, that's the complete opposite. I look at them from that and from my training in functional nutrition and in hormones, and I do understand a big part of what they're saying now. I'm more accepting.
Yeah.
And there's a big part or good number of those influencers or healthfluencers, or name it whatever you want, that are not completely wrong. Definitely, they overdo it. They push for their products and their programs and their vitamins and their whatever, for sure. But then you have double the amount of influencers speaking about health and nutrition and allowing themselves to give advice to a vulnerable population without any regulations, and people listen and people do what they're advised, and this is what hurts me the most. So this is the part that, because you have the big names in functional nutrition, but also you have big names in non-nutrition that are giving advice.
And the only sad way you can beat these people, if you like, is by being bigger than them on social media.
That's
so your voice outshines them. Isn't that really depressing that you have to play in their territory in order to influence?
Voilà, because a few years ago, before social media was a thing, when an article would go on the newspaper or when a TV needed the information, they would actually, when I used to go on TV 10 and 15 years ago, that they would ask for my license to be able to go and speak in public about these things.
I did the same thing now when you came. I asked you for your license, right? So you can talk on my podcast. Just lie. Just lie.
But now on social media, anyone can just open their phone, say something.
It's complete nonsense. You talked about inflammation. You mentioned it a few times. So what is inflammation? What causes it? What do we need to know about it?
So inflammation is the natural response of the body whenever it's faced with a pathogen or with a toxin or with a bacteria. It's the natural response of the immune system. It creates this inflammatory environment to kick the pathogen out.
Okay.
Right?
So what happens? Like you get bloated? Like what is it?
Normally this
Yeah.
is the acute inflammation. So you cut yourself.
Yeah.
The immune cells come.
Yeah.
They help you heal.
Mhm.
They go back to their
Their party.
to where they were.
Whatever they're
done,
doing. Yeah.
done to their party. This is great. This is a sign that your immunity is working well. The problem with us is chronic inflammation. So that's a low-grade inflammation triggered by toxins in food, by food intolerances, if you don't know that you have those intolerances, by inflammatory food, processed food, stressors, pollution, lack of sleep. All of this puts your body in a chronically inflamed state. That is so low-grade, you can't even see it in blood tests. And this is the idea, because some people will tell me, but my CRP is normal. Like I don't have CRP is the biomarker that usually measures inflammation. So by the time CRP is high, you're actually very inflamed, or you have an acute inflammation.
Can you tell from someone by looking at them if they're?
Sometimes, yeah.
And it's not because they're fat, or is it just because?
No,
nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do.
Nothing to do with it.
Most of the time, overweight people have inflammation because the fat cells create inflammatory substances.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be. Sometimes someone would be healthy. I mean, not healthy, like skinny or slim or normal weight, but you can tell from the skin, from the water retention, from the hair, you can tell.
Look, some people can't eat certain things, some people can. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Food intolerances.
Yeah.
You're speaking about food intolerances or just
allergies, food intolerance, you name it.
So allergies, you can be born with them.
Okay,
and
genetic. So that's purely genetic, or it can't be developed?
No, you can outgrow them. So it can be developed during pregnancy, exposure to toxins, etc. But intolerances usually are a sign that you have gut inflammation. So when we do the food intolerances, usually the results could be like you test for 280 items, let's say. If you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 items you're intolerant to, we try to give you an elimination diet. Why are you intolerant to these things? Either because you're eating a lot of those, like you eat every single day of those, or because you went through a phase where your immune system got compromised, and then simultaneously you were consuming of these foods, your body reacted to those food, and you built this reactive state or this intolerance to that food, but you didn't know, so you kept eating this food, and then you started building up. What we test for when we do the food intolerance test, we test for an antibody called IgG. This is a part of our immune system that reacts, the antibodies, to certain proteins in food. So basically, if you want to just simplify it, it's a drop in immunity combined with a high intake of a certain food. Now, you're going to tell me sometimes in the food intolerance test, we're intolerant to something we never ate. That's a different story. That is, you have created for one reason or another a reaction or antibodies against the protein in that food. And it happens, not very common, but it happens. Why some people, not others? This is the most important question: immunity. The stronger your immunity, the more you've worked on an anti-inflammatory living, the less exposed you are to outside toxins, and the more resilient your immune system is, and the less likely you are to develop food intolerance.
I like things in 3. So give me 3 things that we need to do to improve our immunity.
Cut down on inflammatory food,
Such as?
sugar, high gluten,
But is that natural
gluten.
sugars? We're talking
No,
fruit?
sugar, processed sugar.
Okay.
And
What's the worst processed sugar? Continue on that point. What's the worst?
white sugar and brown sugar equally.
Okay.
Because people think brown sugar is healthier.
Okay.
And then, so inflammatory food, sugar, high intake of gluten, processed oils and junk and stuff. This is number 1. Number 2, be very mindful about your gut. If you have any imbalance in your gut, fix it. Because everything starts there.
How do you know it's imbalanced?
Just
It goes up, goes down.
Bloating.
Gas goes up, gas goes down. Is that good or bad?
I mean, mildly, we all produce gas.
Yeah.
But when it becomes painful, or like you're constantly burping, there is an imbalance. These are the biggest signs. But also, it's not only about gas. It could be irregular bowel movement, constipation. It could be reacting to certain foods in general. Like I bloat a lot when I eat that food.
I bloat a lot when I eat dairy, big time.
So you're obviously dairy intolerant.
Yeah, which is why I've
Not lactose, dairy intolerant.
What's the difference between lactose and dairy?
So lactose intolerant, you react to the lactose, which is the carbohydrate inside the milk.
Okay.
So if you're lactose intolerant, confirmed lactose intolerant, you could have lactose-free product.
Yeah, which I do.
But
And I do feel better.
Yeah, you will feel better because lactose is, as adults, when we grow up into adults, 70 to 80% of adults are intolerant to lactose.
Okay.
So when we are born, we have the lactase, the enzyme.
God, I've got questions coming all over the
To
place
digest,
now. I want to keep it grounded. Yeah, keep going.
To digest milk, so as babies, because we need the milk. So babies are extremely tolerant to lactose. And as we grow old, by nature, because we don't need any more this milk, probably, we develop an intolerance.
Great. You're talking about babies, you're talking about milk. My question is, right?
Yeah.
Completely organic, authentic, on point. I've been told by many so-called experts, giving kids, babies, cow milk is very bad for them.
Not at all. Babies, no. Unless the baby develops an intolerance or has an allergy or one of the parents has an allergy. But in general, the composition of cow's milk, babies, you mean under 3?
Yeah.
No, under 3, they cannot have the cow's milk that me and you have.
No, I'm talking about just
formula?
Yeah, formula.
Of course not, no. They can have it. The composition is very similar to the breast milk. Obviously, we always say breast milk is the best option for as long as you can.
Yeah.
But after 1 year, for instance, you can switch into age-appropriate formula.
Okay.
And then after that, they can have the cow's milk.
Let's get into these bad boys. There's stuff I want to get into, but I could talk to you honestly, hours about what you've been through, hours about food and nutrition. Before we get into the last one thing, the biggest misconception of food, just remind me, what did you say?
Undereating, counting calories and undereating.
Okay, that's the worst thing. Yeah. It's just not true.
I mean, it's not true for people who don't need to monitor their growth, their muscle growth or their growth as babies or teenagers.
Yeah.
So for the adult population, healthy adult population, we don't need to obsess about it. It's good to know. It's good to know, how many, what's your metabolism like, what's your basal metabolic rate. But to obsess about it, no.
And you don't need 3 meals a day, fundamentally.
No.
It was manufactured.
It was.
Is breakfast the most important meal of the day?
Listen, to certain people, yes. A high protein breakfast is very important. People with cortisol imbalances. Of course, I'm not talking about kids and toddlers. And
me and you.
They need, Me and you, no, we don't need it. If we don't have a cortisol imbalance, if we sleep more or less, if our diet in general is anti-inflammatory, we don't have inflammation, we don't need breakfast. You can wake up feeling energized, having your first meal at 12, a high protein meal, having lunch as your first meal, high protein, and be extremely productive and extremely healthy.
You ready to take charge of the show?
Yeah.
Hi everyone, I really hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Throughout my career, I've met a lot of people that have anxiety when it comes to public speaking. If you're someone that has that anxiety or nervousness and has always wanted to be more confident in public speaking, but you're also not sure where to go or how to start, the good news is I might be able to help. I have 20 years experience working in corporate communication. I'm a former regional CEO and I've helped to win over 80 different clients through new business pitches. With so many online trainings based on theory, I wanted to share what's helped me in the business world. I've launched my own training program called Master Pitch. The 7-module course covers everything you need to know, whether it's learning how to really understand the audience, how to deliver real impact, or how to effectively storytell, I've got it covered. With practical tips and real examples, you can immediately start turning that anxiety into confidence. Also, in a world of AI, there's never been a more important time to invest in your personal brand and in developing your public speaking. For more information, go to lucaallam.com or drop me an email at info@lucaallam.com. Right, let's get back to the episode.
What delivers longer-term healing? Balancing hormones or rebalancing your habits? I would say rebalancing your habits because that will balance your hormones.
Okay, so what kind of habits do you need to rebalance?
Your sleep.
Okay, what time should you sleep?
You should sleep the closest possible to sunset and wake up the closest possible to sunrise. You're not going to sleep at 6 p.m., but the closest possible. So the earlier, the better. And wake up the closest possible to sunrise. This is how our circadian rhythm or biological clock works for all of us.
And how many hours typically is that?
There is no fixed hours. They say 8 and then 9 and then 7. There is no fixed hours for adults. Some people are perfectly fine on 6 hours sleep, good quality sleep, and night sleep, not 2 a.m. to 8 a.m.
What time do you go to bed?
10:30, sometimes 10,
No
sometimes
way.
9:30.
No way.
Yeah.
What time do you get up?
5:30, 5:50.
So you practice what you preach.
I do practice what I
Okay,
preach.
what other habits do we need to do?
أكيد be active,
Mm-hmm.
but don't be overly active.
Okay.
So exercise, but don't obsess about,
Okay.
running and boot camps and this and that, especially for women, because I tend to see a lot of women exerting their bodies way beyond they should.
What other habits do we need to adopt?
Breathing.
Okay.
Breathing in general during the day, but specifically around mealtime, because it's the actual pre-meal that determines how your digestion will be.
So if you take a lot of breath before you eat.
It's not any breath. It's not just inhaling. So you need to regulate your parasympathetic nervous system. So you need to calm down.
What nervous system?
It's called parasympathetic.
Of course.
Which is the
Yeah.
which is the part of the nervous system that calms you down.
Okay.
Right?
My wife always calms me down.
Perfect. So you need to see her or look at her picture before your meals.
Yeah.
So we always say rest and digest.
Okay.
Because if you don't rest before you digest, you're not going to
So
digest.
you should calm yourself right down.
Exactly.
Then you eat. It'll help with your digestion.
And before you start eating, look at the food.
Yeah.
You might laugh, but some people just eat so quickly they don't even. Why? Because looking at the food starts triggering the enzymes in your mouth, the juices in your mouth and in your stomach. And this is what activates enzymes and makes digestion smoother.
Very nice. Do you know why I eat quickly? It wasn't because of that. It was because in boarding school, if you don't eat quickly, someone else will eat your food.
Oh my God.
It was like that.
See, this is a habit that stayed with you.
I wolf down my food.
This is the worst habit.
I know. And they also tell me, I don't know if it's true or not, if you eat fast, you're likely to eat more. Your brain hasn't told you yet that you're full.
True. That's
so the slower you eat, the better. Also, apparently, if you open your mouth and chew with your mouth open,
it brings in gas.
Yeah, the oxygen helps you the taste to feel better, the food to taste better.
If you open your mouth
whilst you're chewing, which is a really annoying habit.
Yeah.
But imagine chewing with your mouth open.
Yeah.
Apparently, the oxygen coming into your mouth, when it meets the food, it gives it a better taste. Apparently,
this is something I need to investigate.
Do it.
That's
Come back
thing.
to me. Season
I will.
7.
I
right?
will. Season 7.
And then the other thing I heard was so speed, breathing,
chewing.
Yeah, water. So apparently,
don't drink with food.
Yeah. So apparently, if you exactly, I heard the same thing. If you have it together at the same time, it will bloat you further. So either drink before or drink after.
But you know why?
True.
Yes, of course, 100%. Not water, not soft drinks, nothing, because it interferes with the fluids in your digestive system, and so it interferes with the activity of the enzymes.
Okay.
You know what enzymes are?
Yeah.
So the proteins that break
Don't
food.
test me on them. What's the worst thing that you can put into your body? I know sugar is stuff, but give me like a drink. Is it a soft drink is worse than alcohol? Like what's worse for you? And food-wise, what's the worst thing that you can put into your body?
Listen, it's super difficult to choose
I
one
get it.
thing.
I get it.
But if I have to choose a drink, I would say soft drinks.
So
yeah, because they disrupt everything. They disrupt your acidity. They disrupt your especially the diet ones, by the way, the diet soft drinks, because they're so sweet. On the long run, especially those who drink every day, you get used to the super sweet taste.
And but they have no sugar.
Yeah, but they trigger the same cascade in the body as sugar. So I would choose them as the worst.
And food-wise, what's the worst thing that you put into your mouth?
I would say like a big, chunky, creamy cake
cream?
with sugar. Ice cream. More of a cake that has gluten and milk and cream and sugar. That's a bomb.
All right. Remind me not to come around for your birthday. I probably won't eat your
You
cake.
won't find that.
I won't be invited anyway, but I'm going to eat your cake. Should we do another question?
Where's the beginning? Okay. Empowering women through greater external understanding or better internal self-care. Definitely better internal self-care.
So why are women not taking care of themselves enough?
Women, especially in their 40s, okay? Because when you're in your 20s, when you're in your 30s, you're more flexible. Let's be honest. In your 40s, especially if you're married and especially if you have children, you tend to put everybody's needs first. Not because you want to, but because you don't have a choice, okay? Husbands are very supportive, but there are things that only moms can do. And if we're not talking about mothers, women in general, there are things that only women can do, whether it's caring for the old parents, whether booking those doctor's appointments, which when you're 40, these become more and more frequent. career-wise, house-wise, women in general tend to do these things more, okay? So we finish with a checklist that is endless.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting. Thank you very much.
I'm exhausted just listening to it.
I know.
Yeah.
So when this checklist is so long and there are things that you need to do every single day, okay? If you're a mother, you have to do this with the kids. You have to drop, you have to pick up maybe, you have to clean. Luckily, we have people now who can help us, but some women don't have help. You have to cook, you have to feed, you have to make sure they're eating, they're taking their supplements, they're studying, they're performing, and you haven't even looked at your business calendar yet, right? Now imagine, on top of that, you have your business deliverables. You have to do this, you have to talk to this, you have to meet with that, okay? So all of these build up. Type. When a woman decides she needs to see a doctor, and I'm not even talking about facials and luxury things, I'm talking about basics. I am someone who always preaches for take care of yourself, set your calendar first, put your personal things first. And even with that, and if I show you my Google Calendar, you'll go crazy now. But even with that, do you know how many times I postpone doctor's appointment or yoga sessions or therapy sessions just because I have a meeting at school or because I have a client who can only make it at that time?
By default, you put yourself secondary.
Okay. So unless you really actively, and I'm not saying thinking of it only, no, actively plan it and actually put it in practice, women will always put themselves second. And when they do put themselves second, unfortunately, they cannot keep doing this. Like we say, you have to fill your cup before you can pour into your
It's like the oxygen mask thing as well.
It's like the oxygen mask. And the problem is we speak about this so much, and social media is full of motivation on this and inspiration and love yourself and do. But I'll tell you one
thing. Say it, Tina. Tell me. I want to hear it.
If she's listening now, if you or she is not doing the day-to-day self-care, you will never reach to the biggest titles. What is day-to-day self-care? You want to wake up alone, have even half an hour in the morning for yourself, before your kids, before your spouse, before anyone wakes up. You and yourself, and you do whatever you want. Maybe you want to work. I answer emails at 5:50. I don't meditate I answer emails, but I'm happy to do it because at least some of my checklist is out, okay? Yeah. This is one thing. You have to go open the calendar, whatever calendar you have, whether you have it written, whether you have it on Google, whatever. And you schedule the things you want to do. My yoga is scheduled from now till next year because I know that this session of yoga that I like is on Sunday morning or Saturday morning or Tuesday afternoon, so I schedule it. And I put it on repeat weekly. Sometimes I cancel, fine. But at least I know when you call me and tell me we have a podcast that day and that hour, when I look at my calendar and I see my yoga, I won't push my yoga. I will tell you I can't, I'll do it after or before. Yeah. Unless it's an emergency, then yes.
Just prioritize it.
And unless you do that, you will not be able to reach to a place where you're actually taking care of yourself.
There's one thing that you're missing, which is the G word, which is guilt. Women, I know a lot of them, feel very guilty when they put themselves before their husband or before their kids. How do they overcome that sense of guilt?
I'll tell you what, the moment they realize that if anything happens to you or if you are not at your full potential, everything else gets affected. So we say in Lebanese, and I'm going to say in Lebanese, translate it if you want.
If I can.
ما متي ما شفتي غيرك كيف مات. So if you haven't died, haven't you seen others who died? Yani, don't you learn from others' mistake? I am one of them. When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, everything was put on pause. From my side, I couldn't work. I was doing my therapy in Lebanon, my treatment. So, and everyone felt that around me. And back then, by the way, before my diagnosis, I was all over the place. I was not self-caring at all. I was doing everything because I could, waking up in the morning to go to the gym, do the crazy hours, doing that, staying up late, going out at night, clubbing, coming back, not sleeping, drinking alcohol at least twice, 3 times a week. So all of these things, created this perfect storm in my body, right? I'm not saying everyone who does this will end up having cancer or any illness, but I'm saying, so when I got the diagnosis and I was forced to rest and take care of myself and my supplements and my healing, this is where I realized how drained I was. And this is how my entourage realized how many things I was doing on my own.
So it's going to sound like a crazy question, but was it a blessing having cancer?
It was, maybe it was. I don't like to say, I mean, everything that comes our way is a blessing. That's for sure. But if you ask me, once I heard someone say, if you could, go back in time, would you want everything to happen in your life the way it happened? Obviously, I wouldn't say, yes, I want cancer to be, because I would know better to try and avoid, or to test earlier, or to check myself earlier. But maybe it was a blessing.
Yeah.
Maybe it was.
You ready to do another ball?
Overcome cancer by prioritizing mind over matter, or use healthy matter to help the mind.
So this is about functional.
That's nice. Yeah.
This is about functional nutrition. Why you got into it? So what's more important, really, to overcome it? Is it mind over matter, or actually what you put into your body and how you treat your body will help you?
This is such a difficult question. I don't think you can do health. I don't think you can control what you put in your body for your mind if your mind is not already in a certain place.
Okay.
Take, for instance, if you're going through stress, or if you're going through something in your life, and I come and tell you, listen, you have to eat this, not that, this is inflammatory. Chances are you won't follow. But when your mind is in the right place, you've worked on your mindset, you've worked on your psychological state, you're more likely to do the right choices.
So, but when it comes to overcoming something like cancer, the mind is more important than what the body is being given.
Equally as important.
I get it. But it's like...
Okay, yeah, more.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it's always
self-talk.
And it's funny, whoever I talk to, it's the same things that keep coming out. And how powerful our mind is. Look, I'm someone who snacks a lot. I eat, so let me give you a day in the life of Luca, right? I have a very healthy breakfast, in my opinion. A couple of boiled eggs, grapefruit, right? Okay. Lunchtime, I'll have a bit of salad, some chicken, some fish, some meat, some rice. And then in the evening, something quite similar. What happens around 9 o'clock is I've been to the gym. Hopefully it's at that point as well. Or I play paddle. I like, you know what, Luca, I've had a healthy day. I've taken care of myself. I worked out today. Plus, I'm working really hard. I deserve a treat. Yeah. I open up we have a snack box, which I know we need to get rid of. But humor me. Open up the snack box, I see a packet of crisps. We call them chips in England, in America, crisps in England. Open up a packet of crisps. I have it. I'm like, you know what? It was a small one. I'll have another one. Then I'll have another one. I can have 3 packets of crisps. It's all in
your mind.
So I know it. I know it is. But it's based on that kind of thing. I want to treat myself. Or I'm stressed. Or I need to reward myself based on something that I've accomplished. Is it the most important thing to fix your diet? Is just having the right mindset. But how often are we investing time and energy as nutritionists, clinical dietitians, telling them actually go fix your mind, because that's the issue. It's not about what you put in your body.
Many times. You know how many times I actually send them to psychotherapy and I tell them, now I can't help you, or to emotional eating coaches. There's a lot of emotional eating coaches who can help, who are trained to do that because of that. Because yes, it's a mind shift, but this mind shift cannot happen if you don't give alternatives. So we can give you the alternatives. We can help you shift a bit the attention if you want, but it takes time.
You know what I found is the best thing is I started now going for walks in the evening. Weather's nice, right? So you go for a walk in the evening, it stops me from snacking.
You know why?
Why?
Do you know biologically why?
No, tell me.
Because snacking and walking, or snacking and exercising, boost the same happy hormones in the body. Plus, one thing I always recommend clients and people around me, try not to work out in the evenings.
Is working out?
No. As in workout, you said gym. No, walking is great.
Yeah, so I walk in the evenings to stop me from snacking. Yeah.
That's perfect,
Amazing.
The last thing, and very important thing, most of the time, by the way, we snack because we're hungry and we haven't eaten enough. It's not always emotional. So if it's happening with you in times where you're okay, actually you're not very emotionally triggered, try and look at what you're eating. You might be eating very little.
Should we do another ball?
Hormone imbalances shaped by big business profits or by personal choices? That's an interesting question. So hormonal imbalances, are they more shaped by big business profits?
What people are putting into our food. All the hormonal imbalances that we're seeing, people messing around with us. Or is it based on our choice? That's what
personal choice. No one forces you. It's like the craze around McDonald's 20 years ago. They are killing our children. They are not doing anything. They are giving you the choice. It's your choice to take it or not take it. You're going to tell me yes, but there's a lot of pressure now on kids. You know, they've created this culture of whether this brand or other brands. You know, if the kids are not exposed, if we are not exposed to this kind of nutrition, we might not be, I always say you have the choice. Have the choice.
Thinking beyond, I'm with you. Thinking beyond that, how much of our food that's being produced now is full of hormones that are disruptive and hurtful to our bodies because it's cheaper, and ultimately because it's about the profitability of those companies?
Of course, more than 50-60%.
So then how much choice do we then have? Because what you
still have 50%. More expensive, yes. I mean, it's unless you do this or you're going to sit and wait for the lobbying to happen against these companies, which will never happen. For how many years we knew that smoking kills and smoking causes lung cancer, and you see it this big on the cigarette packs. Smoking has only increased. Like the percentage of people who smoke, it has shifted from regular to IQOS to pipe to this to that. So it's not the knowledge of knowing something hurts that's going to make or break only.
Okay.
So yes, you have to know that these things are bad, but you need to be given the alternatives, and you need to know what the alternatives, and you need to be given the skills to use those alternatives. And the most important thing is not the choice of food only, is if I'm craving sweets all the time, and so I'm going to these processed foods, okay? I come and tell you, you have to stop eating chocolate. It's not that easy. I'm craving it. What I need to do as a clinical dietitian or a functional dietitian or functional doctor or whatever is stop that craving. Find out why you have this. We all crave sometimes, but when the craving is constantly the whole day, every day of the month, then something is off.
What do you crave?
I do crave chocolates. I mean, my only craving is actually chocolate and coffee.
Milk chocolate, dark chocolate?
Any. I don't like the very milky chocolate, more towards the dark chocolate.
Okay. Well,
I will sound cliche. You know, she's a dietitian, she only eats dark chocolate. This is the truth. You can call my kids now and ask them. Once my son told me, we were ordering something or in a restaurant or something, and before I said what I wanted, he goes, of course, salad. And so after he asked me, why, Mom, you're always, or like, is it because you're a dietitian, you only eat salads when you go out? I told him, no, I honestly, genuinely enjoy salads, and it's the only thing that I know what's in it.
One of the reasons why I was thinking about this question was ketchup. Okay, so ketchup, when I was growing up in the early 80s, if you look at the back of the bottle, the ingredients in ketchup was 5 or 6 things. Look at a ketchup bottle now, turn it around and see what the ingredients are in ketchup.
Yeah. This is the most simple one.
Ketchup used to be healthier, right? In my opinion.
It used to be tomato sauce.
It used to be healthier. But you have companies now who are making it more profitable, right? By putting in cheaper alternatives that do 1, 2, 3, and are full of hormone imbalances for our bodies. So you're still thinking it's the individual's choices that actually have more power than the...
because
if you go in the supermarket and you want to buy ketchup and there's only the same brands doing all the same things, you have no choice.
But you have a choice. You don't
buy ketchup. That's your choice.
No, even ketchup in the supermarket today, you have so many options.
I'm with you, but if you look around now, again, for what they're trying to do in terms of how they are removing some of those good nutrients that you actually want in the products and replacing them with cheaper alternatives because it helps their bottom line of the company. All of a sudden, those 10 options are all now actually not that great options. That's what I'm trying to say. As time has evolved, profitability has become the defining factor in food.
I got your point, yes.
And not in nutrition.
I got your
point. So how much choice do people actually have?
You still have a choice, but I'm not saying that these are harmless or these actions or these policies are harmless. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying, keep doing that and keep industrializing food, but us, we still need to know. I'm saying definitely there's a part that should change. Today in the UAE, for instance, there are new regulations for sugar and taxing with food. So the foods with more sugar than the regulations will pay more tax, which is great. These kind of policies and regulation help a lot. Okay. how fast and how much you see the change, it's going to take time.
And UAE is an outlier. It's not exactly going to be, you're not going to see the same thing in the US, for example.
No,
right?
no.
Okay, there's too much money at stake there.
Of course.
So can you read the question out loud one more time?
So hormone imbalances shaped by big business profits or by personal choices. I would still say personal choices.
I didn't convince
You were hoping I changed. So limited production or accessibility of organic food deepens the socioeconomic divide. Debate.
So we literally, you've just mentioned this about, right? It mentioned food can be more expensive and a lot of people can't afford that. So having access to healthier food is expensive and it's only going to reinforce a bigger divide socioeconomically between people.
I don't agree with that. I'll tell you why. Because the healthiest foods are the cheapest ones. Vegetables, fruits,
organic fruits, right?
You want organic?
Yeah, the question is about organic. Okay. So you have, because it's more expensive when you have organic farms. There's more labor.
Yeah,
there's
absolutely.
More
in our setup, yes.
Yeah. So
not if you live in a village.
So if you want to have access to organic, healthier food, it's going to cost you much more.
Yes, that's absolutely
and
true.
Limited production of that makes it even more scarce, higher demand.
That's very true.
So all it does is alienates further between. So what's the solution?
It does. That's an interesting question. The solution is to lobby for cheaper alternatives, healthier, cheaper organic alternatives, because it's feasible to have organic products that are more affordable, number one. Number two is education. If we're talking about a part of society that cannot afford the cucumbers for 30 dirhams, for instance, or $10, the little pack, we teach them, number one, how to use the conventional ones if they have to, but then what do they need to do to overcome, if you want, the pesticides? Because what are organic? Organic have less pesticides in them.
They shouldn't have any.
Yeah. I mean, technically none, or natural pesticides. So we cut the edges, we peel or we wash, and we make sure that we are bringing in the least amount possible. But unfortunately, this is the problem, that low socioeconomic population in the low socioeconomic status are also the same populations who don't really care much and the knowledge level is limited, right? For multiple reasons, because this is not their priority. They would just want to feed their families. They want to survive.
So food is now widening the gap. It's basically serving a purpose to create.
It is.
Isn't that
sad?
It's unbelievably sad.
It is sad.
You want to buy a tomato. This tomato costs, I'm saying anything, 5 dirhams. This one costs 1 dirham. This one's so much better for you.
But it's not. But also
I don't know if that's. I don't know if it's 5 dirhams or 1. But
no, I mean it could get to 5 dirhams. But also, there's also a very important point. We don't need the organic industry is also overdoing it, pushing it. We don't need to eat everything so organic. Soils in general, especially if you're eating seasonal and you're eating local seasonal, chances are you won't need as much pesticides, right? And so because it's the season and it's locally produced, so it's not going to be imported. So you can get a good quality local seasonal product, not organic, and actually benefit from the soil, because soil contains bacteria. And one of the reasons why people's immunity is being compromised is the over-sanitizing and over-cleaning and over-obsessing about organic and this and that. So there's a big part of that is also, I think, inflated in the
interesting.
In the media.
Do you think the food companies, they have our best interests at heart?
Of course not. Why would they? Their first interest is to make money.
That's it.
Yeah, but the governments usually have our best interest, or hopefully. And this is where the conflict begins. When the governments want to impose some regulations, these regulations affect profitability of those big companies. This is where you need to find the middle ground. And this is where, talking about the first part we discussed, the personal choice plays a big role.
How lazy are people when it comes to making those choices? Because everyone has the access information on the back of the packet. They go to the supermarket, they flip it over. Yeah. It's all there. Yeah. They have to. By law, they have to show it.
Yeah.
People don't do that. They know it's bad for them. They just don't want to know.
Listen, it's getting better. Definitely people are lazy. Definitely people are busy. They don't always have the time. But nowadays you have people who do it for you, you know? You have professionals who can help you. You have, and it's sad to think
Can
that
we go shopping next time together?
Yes,
In our
of
lo-
course.
local
I can send you
supermarket.
my grocery
A
list.
local supermarket.
It's ready. I do it online.
Yes, we're neighbors. We're friends now.
I was saying that this is the importance of personal choice to basically know the difference and do your duty. I was saying it's sad that now you need an expert to help you even choose your food from groceries. Like, it's sad that you're just can't walk and pick whatever you want and ensure it's. But you know, rule of thumb: the more natural things you choose, and the closest they are to their natural form, even if they're not organic, the better. So if we're comparing, I don't know, apples with apple cookies, go for the apples even if they're not organic. If we're comparing rice to rice cakes, go with the rice. So the least processed, the better. Yeah. The food industry shapes new diets to boost pharma profits at our expense. You know, this is I hear this a lot, okay? And I don't think, honestly, I don't think they're that smart. Like, yes, they would probably create trends, but to actually create or conduct research and pay trillions and millions only for the sake of pushing one product or two.
Or many. It's the same families own most of the big farmers.
I know. I know.
And by the way, they all go up to the same people. The food industry, agriculture, is owned by the same people that own big farms.
But you're telling me, for instance, let's say practically, what kind of claim was created by a pharma? Like, what kind of thing?
What do you mean?
Claim, like, you know, they claim that this food is bad to push on us there.
No, it's, for example, 3 meals a day, right?
Yeah.
Or calories, or certain diets that you should stick to, the keto diet. I don't know, whatever it is that people want to push.
Definitely they have a say, because like you said, they're big, they're huge. I mean, they're big pharma.
Marketing and people, I'm sorry, but you have billions of dollars in advertising spends going around to influence millions of people. Look, an individual is smart. Me and you can have an intellectual conversation. When you broaden that out to the masses, okay, unfortunately, and I'm one of them, we get swallowed up by this whole marketing nonsense, and we believe it. I've always been told breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I've been told that it's okay to have this processed cereal because it's fine. But
because it has vitamins.
Whatever it is, again, marketing. And then I'll end up going to hospital, right, needing to do more supplements of this, more supplements of that, and all of a sudden, they're doubling up.
That's true. And this is why we just need to be moderate with our consumption of food and consumption of information.
I'm launching my own farm. Khalas, I've decided. I'm going back to the north of Lebanon.
Yalla.
I'm growing my own farm.
We'll do it together.
Done. Amazing.
Yeah, that's my dream.
It is, right?
Farm.
By the way, we're close. We're neighbors. We're not that far away in North
Lebanon.
Even
in Lebanon.
Yeah.
I know.
So
10 minutes.
Skarta, Mizyara. Khalas, we're meant to be here, Tina. Thank you for that. Anything you want to add on the final question?
You know, it just brings the importance even more on being aware and being mindful and not obsessing over anything. Take things lightly, always. We all agree on certain no-nos and certain do's and don'ts. We all agree, and science has proved it many, many times. But any new trend, be very, you know, take your distance.
So I'm gonna put my mum hat and my dad hat on, right?
Yeah.
So my dad used to always say tomatoes are very good for your blood. Any truth in that? Any ideas?
Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Garlic, very good for your heart.
Definitely.
Right. And my mum's classic phrase, if my siblings are watching this and she's watching this, everything in moderation.
Mazboot. I agree with your mom and your dad.
She's been saying this for 50 years.
She's right.
Olive oil is also, it's like drinking health syrup.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, the simple stuff, man, the simple stuff.
Of course.
Our parents knew this.
You know what the problem
They all knew this.
We know that. How many of us do apply it?
Yeah, no, but we get brainwashed by all this other noise, the influencers, the marketeers, all that kind of stuff. The reality is, good food and being healthy it's not rocket science.
No, it's not. It's not. It's simple. It's really simple.
Yeah. Look, Tina, you were very impressive in terms of your CV, the years you've worked in as a clinical dietitian, now in functional nutrition, everything that you've done. But also you've had a lot of, tragedies that's been happening, especially in the last few years. What is that sort of overriding unique insight that belongs to you, the thing that you would love to share the most so far throughout your life? So take your time with that, but it's that kind of final thing that we need to know from you. Based on the experiences, good and bad, that you've been through.
The first thing that comes to my mind is you are your only healer at all levels, whether it's body, whether it's mind, whether it's anything spiritual. I'm not saying that there are not professionals that help, definitely, but at the end of the day, you are your only healer, and you can play with your own mind, and you can set your targets, and once you have a clear vision of who you want to be or become, whether it's a look that you're looking after, whether it's a health thing, or whether it's career, business, whatever. Once you have a vision of that person you want to become, start working on it. Literally every day. Put goals, put targets, work on these goals, seek help for these goals. You want to reach certain place in marketing your brand, seek help in this. But don't think anyone is going to give you that business that you're looking for, or that success in your business, or anyone is going to go out of his way or her way to give you the shape you want or the health focus on yourself, seek help here, there, in those little places where you need help. But at the end of the day, you consolidate all this information and you come up with the perfect plan for your life. No one else is going to do it for you. No one. No one.
Thank you. Tina, it's been great having you on.
Thank you.
Look, the first half, unbelievable stuff. Second half, unbelievable stuff in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I love most about these kind of conversations. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to come out.
Yeah.
But I've generally really enjoyed the chat.
Me too.
I think you're one of the most, and I've interviewed now close to 80 people in the last 2 years. Not only is it one of my favorite episodes, you're one of the most remarkable people I've ever met.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Really.
so much, Luca.
And I don't say that lightly.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. And there's an ease to talk with you, to be very honest. I wouldn't have spoken about many of these things if you weren't the host that you are. Thank you for having me. I'm glad we spoke about this. And I'm so looking forward to watching the episode.
We're going to bring you back on season 7 as well, right?
Inshallah, yes.
All right, amazing.
Yes.
On that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. There is a subscribe button. Just tell them there's a little subscribe button. Just click on the subscribe button. It's just there. Drop a comment, drop a like, do what you do best, and I'll see you very soon on Luca's Inside Track.